Hi, I'm SP Roy. I'm the Joint Director General Foreign Trade. I'm based in New Delhi. I look after the import-export policy of the government, the implementation, its formulation, all of it. Today, I'm going to talk about the role of DGFT, what it does, how it promotes exports, and along with the role of DGFT, we'll be talking about the export promotion councils. The export promotion councils are the arm of the government, rather not the arm. It's the exporters organizations which promote exports for the exporters. What activities it's involved in, what it does, how it does, that will be the part of this lecture today. We'll talk about the RCMC, that is the registration cum membership certificate, how it is issued, what it is used for, how you can obtain this. This will be a part of the lecture. Today, India has moved on from the role of regulating trade to facilitating trade. All its activities are aimed at promoting trade, and exports are a vital part of the trade. So hope the following lecture will be entertaining and useful for you. DGFT and its role in export promotion. DGFT is an attached office of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Prior to 1991, it was mostly a regulator. Since liberalization, DGFT has turned into a facilitator of exports and imports. DGFT functions with the help of its 36 offices, who are called the regional authorities of DGFT. They have offices all across the country, mostly the capitals of the states, and the regional authorities of DGFT help in issuing the IEC, monitoring of various schemes, admissibility of drawbacks, trade facilitation, and all these activities. The primary role of DGFT is of issuing IECs. What is an IEC? IEC is a 10-digit alphanumeric number which is the same as your PAN. It is the PAN which is registered with the DGFT, and that enables an individual or a firm or a company to start trading. Now, only one individual can have one PAN. Similarly, on the basis of one PAN, there will be only one IEC. There is just no possibility of any trade, import or export, without an IEC. But sometimes, when as an individual capacity you are importing something or exporting something to your friends, to your relatives, then there are permanent IEC numbers which you can obtain from DGFT and utilize that in the trade. However, for the general purposes, you will have to apply for an IEC, and IEC application is an online application on the DGFT's web server. You just need to apply online, fill in the form, and submit 2 documents. These are the bank certificate as well as a address proof. Now, address proof, when you go onto the website of DGFT and start filling the forms, they will list out what are the documents that are required for or eligible for an address proof. Similarly, a bank certificate is required only when you do not have a pre-signed or pre-printed name checkbooks in your name, meaning thereby the check should have a pre-printed name of the firm or the company, and that check can be used as your bank certificate. So these are the two documents you need to apply for IEC. The moment you apply for IEC, the same day the IEC is generated and you can take a printout. It will also be sent to your email ID and you will be intimated through the SMS. Once you have an IEC, what is the validity of the IEC? IEC is valid till the time you want it to be valid. That is, it is a lifelong association with DGFT, and until unless there is some wrongdoing on your part and the IEC is not suspended or cancelled, it is valid. It remains valid throughout your life. However, if you are not utilizing the IEC, you can surrender the IEC, fearing its misuse. There may be many a times when you need sudden changes in the IEC. These are possible because there are changes in your addresses, in the members, in the directors, in the partners. So all these changes have to be incorporated in the IEC, and any such changes has to be reflected on the IEC through a modification in IEC. For modification in IEC, you need to log on to the DGFT's website and fill in the digital form, and the modification is done. For modification, what you require is the documents that you want to substantiate as changes. That is the modification. Now, we are talking about the export promotion councils and the export promotion activities they carry on. You'd understand and you know that market forces determine the flow of trade, but how to channelize it and how to guide it into your direction, that depends on the export promotion activities. The aim of the export promotion councils is to channelize your activities towards the trade that is gaining ground. It helps you exploring new ways, markets. However, when we talk about EPCs, we should know that this is just not something that has come up suddenly. It has been there since 1954, when the SRTEPC, Synthetic and Rayon Textiles Export Promotion Councils, were established. As on date, there are 37 EPCs, commodity boards and export development authorities. When you talk about functions, roles of EPCs, we should know that the EPCs are meant for the promotion of a particular group of products, projects, services. It caters to a particular group, so there are a number of EPCs. Its aim, the EPC's aim should be to project India's image as a reliable supplier of goods and services. It should encourage and monitor the activities of the traders, the exporters, so that that matches the international standards and the specifications. The EPCs should also keep the exporters abreast of all the developments that are happening in the trade by organizing seminars, conferences, taking them on a tour, attending the trade conferences. However, the most important thing that the EPCs do is to register their members and granting them the registration cum membership certificates. These documents, the RCMC that is issued by the EPC, is primarily one of the most necessary documents in the trade. We'll talk about RCMCs, bit later, but before that you should know that the EPCs are also there to help you out in documentation procedure in availing benefits from the government. It also helps you giving you the links to other organizations, other bodies from whom you can extract help in promoting your own activities. But remember, all these EPCs do not provide financial assistance. Rather, it is on the membership fees that you pay that they sustain themselves. What is the basis for the EPCs to register? How are they registering authorities? To be a registering authority, you have to abide by the rules of the government. In this case, the Department of Commerce and DGFT has laid down that the EPCs will not be controlled by a few people for their own interests. That is why it ensures that there is an elected representative as head of that organization. We ensure this through e-voting. The members may be scattered all over the country. Now, if they are told to come over for a voting at a particular place, that may be difficult. So the members are enabled to e-vote their representatives. The tenure of the heads of the EPCs are restricted to a term not more than 2 years. We have limited that if there is a president or a chairman, he wants to seek an election, he wants to be posted, he wants to be promoted as a chairman or a president, he has to be first the vice president or the vice chairman. It is only through this route that he can become the head of that EPCs. Why is that? That is to ensure that he understands the trade and he knows as to how EPCs function. EPCs are also responsible for carrying out all the government activities. They are there so that they can report to the government the difficulties faced by the trade, and they must ensure that they follow all the directions of the central government. We talked about EPCs being registering bodies. So, what are they registering? They are registering you, the exporter, as member and issuing their RCMCs. This registration cum membership certificate is an essential document for obtaining any benefit or concession under the foreign trade policy. It is also necessary if you are seeking a permission for export of restricted goods. Now, who can obtain the RCMC? It can be obtained by the merchant exporters, manufacturer exporters. Whom do you go to a EPC when you do not know your line of activities? Suppose you have an activity where number of different branches are involved. In that case, you should seek the help of FIO. You become a member of FIO, that is Federation of Indian Exporters Organization. Suppose you are in the Northeast and you are into multi-products exports. What do? You go to the SHELEC, that's a Suffixil is the name of the organization which registers multi-product exporters in the Northeast. Similarly, if you are an exporter of handicraft items or handloom projects, then you go to the Department of Handicrafts, Directorate Handicrafts in the government of J&K. How do you become a member? you have to fill in a form, and that form is called ANF2C. And what will be the format of the certificate? That is laid down in the foreign trade policy as an appendix 2A. In case you are a member of the Spices Board and Spices Board grants you the certificate of registration as exporter of spices to you, you are to use this certificate as RCMC for all your trade purposes. What is the procedure for issuance of RCMC? You will have to apply with a self-certified copy of an IEC number as well as your bank statement or a bank certificate which shows that you are sound physical health. In case you want to get registered as a manufacturer exporter, you are required to furnish evidence to this effect, like, for example, the SSI certificate or any such thing that proves that you are a manufacturer. RCMC is valid for 5 years, from the 1st of April to the 31st of March of the financial year. So for 5 years, you are a member once you get that RCMC. The government is mandating that once you apply for an RCMC, it is issued to you online. And at the same time, it gets transferred to DGFT. And in that purpose, what would happen is that you would not be required to submit ICs separately and the RCMCs separately every time you apply for a registration or for availing any benefit with the government. Once you have obtained an RCMC, what is your responsibility? You are always to inform the government of the changes that takes place in your RCMC. You have to file quarterly returns, details of your exports. Suppose you fail to do all this, the EPCs have the power to deregister you. But if it does, in that case, it will give you a show cause notice and you have to reply to the show cause notice. And suppose they deregister you and you are aggrieved by that deregistration, you can appeal to the Department of Commerce or an appeal to the DGFT pleading for revocation of that deregistration. Since we are talking about exports, we are talking about the Export Promotion Councils, we must know what are its functions. The functions of EPCs are, it serves as an information hub for all the products that it caters to. It offers guidance. It gives you the assistance in filling forms. It at the same time obtains and collects data from you and provides it to the government so that government can frame more better policies. It sends trade delegations, study teams abroad so that you gain knowledge. The Export Promotion Council benefits from the new knowledge and it scatters to its members. It circulates reports of new products and markets. It creates consciousness. Continuing with the functions, see that it promotes exclusive exhibition and trade fairs. It cooperates with EIC, which is an Export Inspection Council, which monitors quality and pre-shipment of goods. Being a member of a EPC, it is the bounden duty of the EPC to settle disputes among its members. It also acts to obtain concessions from the government, from other organizations, from the insurance bodies, banks, to protect and promote its exporters. Nowadays, as I will take you through the slides, you will see that EPCs are venturing into new areas like infrastructural development, skill development, design development, domestic market development. These are the areas that they're focusing because they have to grow. India has to grow. In this slide, what you see is EPCs, different types of EPCs, and who is the controlling body or whom do they report. For example, under the EPCs, under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, you will see there are around 12 export promotion councils which are directly seeking benefits or representing the specific bodies and reporting to the Department of Commerce. Similarly, there are around 8-9 bodies which are under the Ministry of Textile. These textile ministries, EPCs, promote that kind of activity which is controlled and governed by the Textile Ministry. When we talk about textiles, we talk about commerce, we should also talk about agriculture. That's a major field. And when you see that there are commodity boards which are promoting agricultural products, plantation products like rubber, coffee, tea, tobacco, spices. These are the commodity boards which are under different ministries like the Commerce, Department of Agriculture, and not only them, big institutes like AMPEDA. AMPEDA is Marine Products Development Authority. NAFED. These are into marketing and promoting agricultural products. So, you basically have an entire gamut of trade activities being looked into by EPCs who have grouped together or made a special niche product for themselves and are catering to those specific branches of trade. I'll take you through the slides of where I have tried to capture the interviews by the various EPCs and what are the challenges they face and how they are promoting trade. Here, you would see that the Chairman Council of Leather Exports says that the Council of Leather Exports is penetrating or trying to promote its products in less developed markets like Russia, Japan, Canada, Australia, Korea. Why? Because it feels that there is only 2% market share which is captured by India. Whereas EU and US the market share is 68%. So you don't have much scope to grow. But in the rest of the countries like Russia, Japan, etc., there's a tremendous growth opportunities. The CLE is focusing in these areas. Now, when we talk to April Export Promotion Council, what does they say? They feel that AEPC is into export promotion, skill development, training, and strategy. So, these slides that you see, the ChemExcel, the telecom equipment promoters, service promoters, the Engineering Promotions Council, the Carpet Export Promotion Council, the Spices Board, all these organizations are functioning to promote trade. Now, you as an exporter should try to tie up or be a member of one of these EPCs to drive maximum benefits out of it. So friends, hope you have learned something about the trade, the role of DGFT, how it works, what it does, how an IEC is issued, what you should be doing with the IEC part, how the export promotion councils work, what they can do for you, how you can achieve the maximum benefits out of it, what you should be doing to obtain an RCMC, how you can use the export promotion councils for forwarding and taking your trade forward. All these things that were part of the lecture are meant to guide you. Remember, all these facilities that are there are always being updated, and you should always be looking for updates in the field of activity. DGFT, the main source of all such activities, updates all its work that it does on its website. You can log on to dgft.gov.in and you can find all the latest happenings on the trade. Thank you.